probably not legal for me to say this, but he offered me in a Cracker Barrel with my mom.
Brock puked everywhere in my front yard.
That's the dream, right? That's the goal, is to make it to the NFL. Well, once you get there, you think you're all that in a bag of chips.
And we're rolling. Welcome back to another episode of the Entrusted podcast. My name is Blayne Barber. I'm joined by
Brock Murphy
and Ben Presley.
And we are pleased to have with us today
John Samuel Shenker.
John Samuel Shenker. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank y'all for having me. I'm really excited. This is awesome, what y'all are doing, and I'm excited to be here for it.
We're grateful. So we're going to start off with a little introduction. John gave us some background, and then I used my internet sleuthing skills, and I put together a little introduction for our guest tonight.
Come on.
John Samuel was born in Albany, Georgia.
That's correct.
But an Auburn fan.
Yes.
Love that. It's 2 hours away. Not the norm.
Behind
it is.
Lines.
It was not the norm, yes.
Not the norm.
It was
Albany's
a battle all
deeply
childhood.
Georgia. That's right. Lifelong Auburn fan. It was his dream to play football at Auburn, and graduated from the Auburn Business School with a degree in finance in 2021.
Yes.
These are just nerdy stats it'll have more relevance in a minute, but I like this stuff. Playing weight, he's 6'4", 250.
Playing weight, yes.
Yeah, playing weight. In the 2021 season, John had the most receptions and yards by a tight end in the history of Auburn football.
Wow.
33 receptions and 413 receiving yards. Pretty sick. This is just a fun side note. It's literally, I put like an asterisk in there because for most people this is otherworldly, but it's just a little like in his resume. Also played for the Auburn baseball team in 2020 and 2021.
Casual.
First base?
Yep.
Yeah. Only first base? Or did you play?
Yeah, they weren't putting me at shortstop.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if you we're going to get to speed in a minute. I didn't know if you were an outfield guy. Like you could,
Every now and then.
Okay. All right. Was the captain of the Auburn University football team in 2022 as a senior. That's a great honor and speaks highly of his character. Ended up with the most career receptions of an Auburn tight end in school history was 68. Oh. And then also the most games ever played by an Auburn Tiger.
Or Eagle.
Yeah.
62 games. Sorry. And then I think you said that one of your good friends has since.
Yeah, Luke Deal beat it by a couple, I think, last year.
But it doesn't count because he in my mind, COVID, just adding on.
Yeah, but it won't be broken. It's just.
It won't be broken.
It's
impressive. Either way, to play that many games is an amazing accomplishment. Then at the AU Pro Day, we had 27 reps at the 225 bench. It's pretty sick. And a 4.53 40-yard dash.
Not me.
It's a good combo. How would you do with that, Brock? If I put 225 on the bar downstairs right now, are we getting it off the chest?
No.
No.
Not even close.
We're going to work towards that.
That's a goal.
We're going to run better, and we're going to lift 225 once to John Samuel Shenker's 27.
Saturday was a good start.
Yeah, it was a good start. But no, I couldn't do that.
Then played with the Las Vegas Raiders for a couple seasons in the NFL.
Yep.
Worked hard, gave it a great run, and here we are tonight.
Yep.
So that's John Samuel Shenker.
Heck of an intro. Little color commentary.
Yeah, I didn't know you were going to pull out the pro day stats.
I mean, I saw a video.
There is some argument about my 40 time too. The strength coaches do not believe that's true.
Okay, why is that?
They think it was slower, and I would probably argue that's true.
Just bad timing?
I don't think I've ever hit that speed. I've come
the numbers say
4.6s.
otherwise.
Okay. Yeah.
But I took it all publicity is good publicity in that world.
Was that done by laser or by
some laser and some stopwatch. So it depends on who told Auburn to post that. It's dependent on what time that was.
The internet says 4.53.
It's out there.
Could have been a grandma in the back seats or a scout in the front row. Nobody knows.
It's still great. Still impressive. So that's John Samuel Shenker, the athlete. That's the background, how we got here today. And then I want to open the floor to you. We love our guests to just start with kind of what we call your first birth into your second birth. So Jesus says in John chapter 3 that unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. And so kind of just give us your backstory from Albany and then how the Lord wooed you and ended up saving you.
Yeah, so grew up Southern Baptist. I was at church every Sunday morning, every Sunday night, every Wednesday. My parents raised me that way, and I was baptized at 7. And I think that wasn't just, a front. I think that was true and genuine. But I think as time went on from that, it became more of a job than it did a relationship. I think even sports helps with that too. I wouldn't say it glorifies God in that way, because all you have to do in sports is work for yourself and work hard for yourself, and you get what you deserve. And I don't think, I know religion is not that way. A relationship with Christ is not that way, because we don't deserve it, but he's given it to us anyways, regardless of what we do now, what we've done, what we will continue to do. But got baptized at 7, stayed faithful to that. But it was the legalistic. It was read my devotional every morning. That's my check for the day. Check the box, move on, live my life. So totally separate way. I wasn't a bad kid by any means, but just felt like I was checking a box. That's good. Move on, get on with your day, go work out, go to school, practice, whatever, and kind of live 2 separate lives in that way. In high school, it's hard to do that and to live through Christ when being cool in the world is not being cool with Christ. Like normally those 2 things do not go hand in hand. So I struggle with that a lot. I'm sure 99% of high schoolers do. But so I get into high school, and I'm a baseball guy through and through. Loved it. Committed to Auburn baseball my sophomore year of high school, and they don't give full rides. So it wasn't a full ride, but it was close. So it was a big deal. And committed to them for about 6 months. And I got to the end of my junior year of football, and I had a change of heart, and I was loving football. My dad played in college at a D2 school, and I wanted to do it. I loved working out. I loved the game. But that was a lot of money I was giving up too. In a scholarship, I had 0 football offers. I was at a similar to Lee Scott, like a very small private school, no looks, but I didn't care. Looking back, if I was a parent, probably would not let my son make the decision that they made, and they allowed me to call Butch Thompson and say, I'm not quitting you. I'm just leaving baseball for now. And so go through spring of junior year, get to that no offers, probably need to transfer. All my buddies are there, and so that was really difficult. I transferred midsummer to a 7A school about an hour away called Colquitt County in South Georgia. Played there for 1 year. By the end of the year, I had Mercer, Georgia Southern, just those kind of schools. And then FAU with Lane Kiffin. He offered me after the senior year.
Are you playing tight end at this point?
Yeah, okay. It's all tight end.
Okay.
Colquitt, you don't play both ways. So
yeah.
All tight end and punter.
Wow.
Oh,
yeah. Shank was a great name for a punter.
That's great.
Into that, Wake Forest offered me on the baseball field in January.
That's a good program, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great program.
Yeah.
And then 3 weeks before signing day, Chip Lindsey gets the OC job at Auburn, and he was under my head coach in my high school for a while. And it's probably not legal for me to say this, but he offered me in a Cracker Barrel with my mom in Albany 3 weeks before signing day at Auburn. And it was like tears and all the things. That was the only goal, was to go to Auburn. And I didn't think it was really feasible. Yeah. I mean, I had a great senior year, but kind of late on the scene. So and transferring back then was not a real thing. So we weren't really building to go to a bigger school. It was wherever you go, that's where you're going.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I was raised too. So that wasn't really an option. Signed, get to Auburn, kind of lose track of Christ a little bit. Party. I was redshirted, so not playing. Put on weight, bad weight, obviously, and went to church, but just to check it, like I did most of my life. And I would say 2019, I met my wife at that time. And as soon as COVID hit, for whatever reason, COVID was amazing for me. I had a lot of time to reflect and change all that I was doing in my life. I wasn't by any means the worst, but to me, I was in a bad place. And so I wiped the slate clean, and we had 3 to 4 months to do so. Got back to what I love, working out and being in the Word. And she had a lot to do with that too. She grew up, she is unbelievable in her faith, and she can almost recite this book from front to back. Mm-hmm. She's unbelievable. But moved on from that, kind of worked my way for Auburn football, worked my way through, kind of waited my time. Started playing in 18, but didn't really start playing until 2020. That was my first starts. And then for some odd reason, I wanted to join the baseball team. So right before COVID hit, I joined the baseball team, tried out, made it. We got like 4 weeks in, it canceled. I did start a few games, which was awesome. And then 2021, played a full season. Mm-hmm. Started here and there, depending, while playing football in the spring, while dating my wife. So that was
busy.
Yeah, not ideal, to be honest, to be dating someone, but she was awesome. And then 2021, I had a good football season, and baseball was okay. And I was like, I have to make a decision here. Mm-hmm. So I chose football, and Butch was awesome. He's one of the greatest human beings I've ever met, and still supports me to this day. Talk to him all the time, and moved on. 2022, got married right before the season. Finished the season, had an okay year, coach fired and all that kind of stuff. And then moved on, undrafted, which is an uphill battle for sure in the NFL, because you're guaranteed nothing. You're signing bonuses, a bag of chips pretty much, and you better love the game. So I go, get through OTAs and everything, P squad, get cut 5 times my first year. Off and on, they cut me. A week later, they signed me back, and it was just cycle for a whole year. Coach gets fired again. I might be a problem because I had like 4 coaches get fired while I played.
Common denominator.
Yeah, it might be a problem. But after that, we came back and reassessed. I was like, I'll get one more shot. We had a new coach and everything, so I put all of my chips on the table for last year. And did great. Played 9 games, I think. Just reshaped my whole mind and my body. And then at the end of the year, we wanted to be closer to home. So we decided not to sign back. And I've had a few calls, but nothing stuck really. So we're nearing the end. But in that is some great things that are coming, I'm sure we'll talk about. But that's kind of just my worldly life, so to speak, from the time that I started knowing the Lord.
You have anything, Ben?
Go ahead.
So let's rewind to the Lord saves you at 7, and it's I resonate with your testimony there in a lot of ways, where I've often questioned the legitimacy or the depth of my understanding of what I needed as a 12-year-old in my life. And the older I get, the more I'm just grateful that the Lord put me with the family he did. Like the means by which God saved Blayne Barber is that he put me in the Barber family. Right. And then my parents took me to church, and I heard the gospel, and I recognized that I was a sinner. And it's easy to sort of feel like if your testimony isn't extravagant or extreme or exciting, that it's not authentic, but that's the furthest thing from the truth.
That's right.
And so just in the Lord saved you then, but then kind of just weave a line through ways that he kept you along the way, whether that's through influences or relationships or protections that you look back on that got you to the point to where you surrendered as a college student. And you were still saved during that time, but there was volatility.
Yeah, well, I think to the saying that you're the sum of your 5 best friends, I think that is so accurate. And I was very blessed. From the time I was young, I always had good friends, and that's not always true.
Yeah.
I know people I've talked to that do not, their children are not surrounded by godly families.
Yeah.
And that's a real struggle. Because when you're not held to the same standards as other people, you may not look cool. People may not want to hang out with you and your family because they do things differently. But I was blessed to have that.
Yeah.
And my family, I would say my family did have a higher standard than most. I would say that. But that's just, I don't know, maybe not, but that's just how I felt. Like when people came to our house, there was a certain standard that you kind of were nervous when you're growing up. Like, oh, is he going to like my family? Like, is this, so, but I do think as I've grown up that standard has made me more and more proud each and every day that I think back on it now. Going to be a father, I think way more about how I was raised, what things they instilled in me. And not to say that just doing your devotion, checking a box is a good thing, but that habit now has led to such more in-depth conversation with the Lord, because I know that I want to check the box, and now I do it not because I have to, but I want to, because the relationship that I have is growing, and I'm hungry for that. And that is something that is, you can't teach. That is something you have to learn individually, because your relationship is everything. I mean, you can read this book cover to cover and you may not feel anything. Well, you're probably you're not talking to him. You're not dissecting what you're reading and understanding what you're reading. And for a long time, I think that was true. I memorized a lot of verses growing up. That doesn't mean that I knew what they meant and that it changed my life. So I think that was something from my childhood to high school to college to NFL, and now just every little thing that happened was for a purpose. And I also wouldn't say, I don't think age is a restriction on wisdom and discernment of what the Lord is trying to say. I met plenty of 13 and 14-year-olds that I feel like would run circles around me as a believer.
Amen.
So I don't think, and I've kind of thought that way every part of my life. Like, age is just a number. It doesn't mean that you can't do something or that you're unable to talk to a grown adult about Christ just because you're lesser than or what the world sees. I think there's power in that.
Paul tells Timothy to let no one despise his youth, but be an example to the believers in conduct and doctrine and, the way that you're leading with your life. It doesn't matter that you're young. Yeah,
it's childhood faith with an adult mind. And I think, like, when you have that faith, but you also have the mind of an adult, the wisdom that comes with just life, that can be a really powerful thing, especially when you sit down and you're preaching to, it could be one person or 100 people. It doesn't matter. And I feel like I've been equipped in so many ways, just from, baptism at 7, but I think I've always had, just athletically, people have always looked to me in a way sometimes, because my friends are like, well, he's good at football. Kind of what is he doing? But sometimes that can be abused as well. And I've definitely fallen short of that. Like, I am better than because of football. Well, that's not true. Yeah. We are all equal. We're all sinners. There's a God and we are not him. So, we are all at the mercy of him. But also it's grace through faith that brings us to him.
Take us back a little bit to what you're talking about with the transition into college and coming off of probably, I would assume, some highs of identity in some ways in yourself in high school with the athletic background and all those things. And then you've made the decision to not accept the scholarship. You're coming to Auburn. Just walk us through that season in your mind and just that transition.
Well, I thought I really, in that time I look back, I'm like, I believed in myself, but I put no authority into what the Lord had done for me in that time, or my parents for that matter. I felt like that was all me, that I had worked so hard to defy odds, so to speak, of the world, to transfer in 1 year, get scholarships, and pursue a sport that I hadn't really pursued in a long time. So that was it was all me. And I think that engulfed me into my college life. And then I start just enjoying all the pleasures of the world and you're so susceptible. Your freshman year of college, it's all new. You're by yourself. And I had protective parents, but not overly protective, but they were definitely in my back, like watching what I'm doing and making sure I'm not making crazy mistakes. So it was just I felt a lot of freedom. And I think I abused that in a way. And I got away from this. I mean, I would go to like a service every now and then, but to check a box, and it just, it was a really dark time.
Yeah, in your mind in that season, because I feel like I had a very similar experience getting to college, kind of getting out of your high school bubble, out of your parents' roof, and all the things that you're now open to, that you get to have the freedom to decide, like you said. I mean, do you feel like there was times where you felt your conscience and the Spirit tugging at you through that season, or was it you just totally feeling lost and kind of alone?
No, I think I still had the Holy Spirit. I feel like that was it wasn't a way, because I knew the guilt every time if I woke up in the next morning, or just knew it back in my, like I knew that I was supposed to be doing more than what I was and changing what I was doing. But even in college, I had great influences. I had a great chaplain at the time, Malzahn. He was a great influence in that way, like always encouraging us to go to chapel or church on Sundays before coming in for meetings. So it wasn't for lack of guidance. It was all me. But I think the more you lean to the dark, the more you get away from the light, it's hard to see. Mm-hmm. It's hard to understand where to go in that moment. But then I go back to my childhood, and I knew that the one thing that I did was read every morning. Well, to start back, that's all I did. And then from that, it was, okay, I write a prayer card for the week, and I do those prayers. And then it turned into more, and then it turned into we started a Bible study with some of our players. And then when I joined Grace, it was even more and more and more. And then as you get to the NFL, it's a little different. You're by yourself, but we had great friends. Daniel Carlson was there and his wife. We had some great Christian friends there that helped pour into us, and we had a little community. But you learn to find that wherever you are. In Auburn, I feel like way easier than most places to find that. Like Las Vegas is not the easiest to find Christian people.
Shocker.
Like it's just, especially in that world, because you don't have, like, you have neighbors, but it's not the same world. Like you don't go out and say hi to your neighbors over there. Like it's just, so it was a struggle early, but just, and my wife, again, she is the reason. And this baby coming also is another reason, but she is the reason that she brought me back to have a real relationship, not just to have a religion, so to speak. And now I'm a little bit on fire for it, and it's been awesome in the past 4 or 5 months to see that and just grow and consuming myself, because our hearts are so fragile. I think consuming myself day to day with this, or you can listen to podcasts, just whatever, but nothing of it needs to be worldly. And I went to an extreme with that, where nothing was worldly, Netflix, TikTok, those supercomputers in our pockets, like none of that was in, and it completely knocked it out. And now I'm able to discern how much of it is good and how much of it is bad. But it's always a process. Like it will continue to grow and grow, and we'll always, at some point, we'll get a little bit off track, but that's when we know that we're supposed to get right back on. And it's been an awesome journey so far.
Take us into the locker room at Auburn when you're going through that change, and you've been living a certain way, kind of running from God, far from God, and then you have this heart change. You're back into diving into the Word, and you now, I assume, have had some change in the way that you're acting day to day and have a platform within the locker room now. Can you talk about that? Yeah, no,
I would say just recently, looking back on it, when you are transformed, it is visual. It is not yes, you do speak differently, but people should be able to see you differently. Like they should be like, that guy's different. That guy's doing something different. What is he doing? Like he has such joy. You can't find joy anywhere else. You can find happiness. Happiness can be temporary, but joy is true. You can't hide. You can't fake joy. kindness. I mean, all the fruits of the Spirit, obviously, but it was just when that transformation happened, my friends that were really tight, that were Christian friends that I knew were in my corner, like they were so happy for me. And then I started in the summers, our FCA group with our chaplain, we would all speak 1 week at a time. And we went through Philippians and Ephesians. And then you're forced to have a sermon of your own. Well, that forces you to get into the Word and to dissect what you're going to speak about. And that was accountability for me too. Level. Yes, that is totally different. And I spoke, and a few people came to Jesus afterwards, and it was so moving. I was like, because I have nothing. I have nothing to give you. Mm-hmm. I'm so broken. But yet you hear what I have to say, what God says through me, and changes their life. And I bought like 6 or 7 Bibles for some of my teammates. Like it was, and that was a huge transformation for me as well. Just knowing no matter how broken everyone, just like you were saying earlier, your testimony may seem useless. Like it may seem like there's nothing to it. That's never true. Yeah. Because everyone has a journey. Everyone's journey to an extent can be very similar, not in necessarily the destination of where you are, but just in the book and understanding where people may be coming from. Because we all want the truth. And I think people look for it in totally different places. Mm-hmm. But when everyone understands this truth, you're so synchronized in your belief that it's really, really powerful.
I think a lot of what you're saying is something I've been dwelling on lately is just right out of the gate in Genesis, God creates us in his image, and he creates us to live into a particular design for us. And so, I mean, what we're passionate about here starting this podcast and having these conversations is you think of the C.S. Lewis quote that we're satisfied playing with mud pies when we're offered an infinite holiday at the sea. And it's not that the Lord finds our desires too weak, or too strong, but they're just too weak. Right. Like we can try to live into the design that we think is going to work for our lives, and it will leave you empty and longing and questioning, and you will have no fulfillment. That's Ecclesiastes. That's evident in sin entering the world in Genesis chapter 3. And so I think what you've said for us all is just the encouragement to just live. The Lord's not holding out on you. I think a lot of people have the perception, especially if you're new to Christianity or you're exploring it or you've never, is just like, this is a rule book and it's going to keep me from doing fun stuff and keep me from pleasure. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. It's God, freedom. It's freedom. This is the Lord offering you what you actually want. And when we relent to that and we submit and we trust in him, and we don't lean on our own understanding, that's when life is the sweetest and the best.
Actually, you brought up a great point. I read this morning in Haggai, my devotional. You have planted much, but it harvested little. You eat, but never have enough. You drink, but never have your fill. You put on clothes, but are not warm. You earn wages only to put them in a purse with holes in it. Like that's, you do that. God does not do that. Yeah. It is such a fix, especially in this world now, because everyone's saying you are capable, you can do this. It's a fallacy. Like there's no truth in that because it will never satisfy. You will never be full. But that's the story. And people, again, they think it's legalistic. They think it's black and white, which the word itself, yes, it's not changing, but it's by grace through faith. You are transformed. Mm-hmm. And until you experience that, it is hard to understand that. Yeah. It's hard to wrap your mind around it. But that's why people, when you see the transformation, there's like a light switch. Yeah. I mean, that's why we are called to be salt and light. We change what we touch. Yeah. Like that is his purpose for us. And to be entrusted with, to have purpose, like, yes, you may not know it right now or in the next week, like in this thing, but you can look back and say, well, he entrusted me with that in that time. Now it's, well, in 10 years, what did he entrust me at that point? So it's a never ending journey that know you'll never perfect, but you're not supposed to. Mm-hmm. Yep. And so it's a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm.
It really is so different retrospectively to be able to see back and you can truly trust, I think, his faithfulness going forward at any time when you look backwards and you can see even things that in that time made no sense at all. It almost always is crystal clear when you look back how he was working and weaving that together. On a side note, and I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're
but
good.
I love that you're in that book. Yeah, I'm going to because it made me chuckle. Like that's clearly you're not just pulling from the gospel. You're deep in that devotion. How do we end up in that book?
This morning, so I'm reading
That was a deep pull there for the devotion this morning.
Yeah, so this morning my devotional, it's Tony Dungy's devotional. It's called In Common, and he was just saying that you cannot rely on yourself, that you are not your own self. You cannot get to where you want to go, but it's also not a thing of merit, and which I think that became a problem as well, especially in athletics. Like I was saying, like I thought I was able to do all these things, so why can't I have what I want? But that is so far from the truth. You cannot earn it, but a relationship will get you there. And in this world, like we've said, that is not what they portray. That is not what they want you to think. And it can be a death trap.
No, I just going back. I know we jumped to Auburn years, but we didn't talk much about the high school. I made a transition in high school, not for necessarily sports reasons, but I did change high schools. How hard was that? And then just friends, everything else. I know a lot of people, especially athletes, are having to do that now just with the way the competition is. What is your advice?
My parents probably caught more flack than I did. Yeah. They didn't really speak to me, but there's plenty of people that will not speak to us anymore. And those are not our true friends, obviously, but that was a hard challenge. I think my parents helped drown that out for me and just let me go and play. But it was a struggle because my brother was still at the old school. So he got a lot of that too. Yeah. And I didn't know that until way down the line. Yeah. And the sacrifices he made for that.
It happens like more than.
Now it's
all the time.
It's all the time. I mean, it's insane now.
Yeah.
Back then it was starting to catch a little bit.
Yeah.
But then you'd have people attack our families for our character and everything. And like, we still go to the same church on Sundays that we've gone for 20 years.
Yeah.
But you have some people that wouldn't treat you the same over a decision about a sport or school. Like,
it's crazy.
We're at church. We're not, we're not leaving the faith. Like, we're not leaving Christ. We're not.
Yeah.
And it was, I didn't know about a lot of it until into college. And even now I still hear some stories that I had no idea, that they took on so that I could just focus on what I was doing. But then that all leads back to me, right? Like, it was all for me. Okay, well, that's all me. Yeah. Like, they let me do it because they think I need to do it. Like, it was, and for a while, actually, my parents, I forgot when I decommitted from baseball, my parents, it's going to sound bad, but they didn't believe that I could do it. Yeah. And so when I told them that I was going to, well, you put yourself on an island, you trust yourself, and it worked out, but it worked out worldly. It didn't work out as far as my relationship. Like, that never came back in that time frame, because it was all about me making sure that I made it to where I wanted to be. And that is such a trap. And it prepared me actually from college to the NFL. Because when I got to the NFL, I was like, okay, this will not define me. This will not overtake my life. And in the NFL, that is hard, because all those guys, that's the dream, right? That's the goal, is to make it to the NFL. Well, once you get there, you think you're all that in a bag of chips. Like, you think you have the world in your hand, and you don't look to anybody else except yourself. And that was, but I was very grateful for my high school to college transition, because when I got to the NFL, I was like, I will not do that. I will not. That is what I do, but that is definitely not who I am. And I will not give up the standards and beliefs that I have just because of a game. I won't do it. And so I would say that was a huge journey for me, was to see that. And I didn't really notice that until probably the last few months, just reflecting on my journey. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that there really is some power to that. Looking back, and because in the moment you don't see it, you don't understand it, and you look back and like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Like, that's why he had me go through that to get to where I am. I tell my wife all the time, if we had met in high school, we would not have dated. No way. No way. She wouldn't have dated me, and I wouldn't have dated her.
I can
no way.
attest to myself as well.
Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
And like, we were both sinners, but no way we would have attracted each other then. So that's just another thing to see just how I've changed from then to now.
Yeah.
Were there any challenges going back to your transformation of heart in college? Were there any times that it was challenging where maybe guys that had been hanging out with you before that heart change are like, hey, man, come back out, do that type of thing? Because I know Brock can talk about that a little bit.
Let's go to Sky Bar.
Yeah, whatever it was. That was one of the biggest things, and I'll let you speak to that. I think that'd be good.
On which part? Sorry.
Just like when you had your change of heart and when the Lord came into your heart, and there was a lot of guys that you'd been hanging out with before that saw the change and actually didn't love it because for whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was obviously tough, right? You know, these guys have, well, I'd say they were my friends, but obviously I made my closer friends that are still with me today in college. But it was tough. But I would say that I had so much joy at that time in my life with the Lord, and I mean, still do, but that I kind of was able to overlook that. But it sure as heck did not make it easier when people were saying stuff or not going out. So I'm sure
it's hard. I don't know if I lost friends, but like going out, not as much. Like you don't, and you start to, friends, they'll stop asking you to come out.
That's a good point.
And it's you're hurt for a little bit.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, does he not like me or something? Like, what's the problem? And then you realize, well, I'm changed. Like, they don't think that I'm what I used to be, or I'm a good time anymore. Yeah. And like, I'm still a good time, just in a different way, right? But I think it's, I wrote this down, the posture of your heart will be known. And once you know that, you're going to deter those that do not know. Yeah. But that is also our calling too, right? Like, we're to minister to those friends as well, even if it's not popular, it's not going to be worldly, does not look at Christianity in a popular way, or else it would be everywhere. Yeah. But it's not. It's, there's a metaphor of the wolves. It's, there's two wolves fighting. One wolf is full of darkness and despair. The other is full of love and light. Who wins? The one you feed. So the one that you feed every single day,
Clip it.
the one that you feed every day is going to win.
Yeah.
And people can see that though.
Yeah.
Like, whenever you get into that transformation, people will see that. You become that wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you become someone who stands on what they believe.
Yeah.
And it was, when I heard that, someone told me that a couple of years ago, and it was very convicting, because I'm like, what am I feeding myself? And that's where I changed everything I listen to, everything I read, to pretty much, I like history, but other than that, it's the Bible, it's C.S. Lewis, it's podcast.
Good for you. I can't read C.S. Lewis. I don't understand it.
I'm reading Mere Christianity right now. It's awesome, but
I've tried to read it.
Dense.
I'm literally have tried to read that book 5+ times. I get 3 chapters in every time, and I'm like, I just can't. I don't get it.
It's deep.
Surprises me, Blayne.
It's deep.
I'm not kidding. 5 times at least, and I get to about the same point, and I'm like, this just sounds like gibberish. And then if someone who is intelligent explains what he's saying to me, I go, oh, that makes perfect sense. But I can't read it myself.
I would suggest
I'm an idiot.
Reading it and then listen to the audiobook. It helps a lot.
Okay,
Reading it twice.
I have tried the audiobook, but I failed there too. But
It's dense. It takes me like 30 minutes to read a chapter. But
I grabbed The Great Divorce recently. I'm like, I'm going to read this. And I got 2 chapters in. I was like, I'm going to sleep.
oh my God.
I know. I'm not that level of.
But I enjoy reading. So that's something that I've definitely quit reading books before, but no, just so powerful. And C.S. Lewis has another quote on here. It says, the longest way is the shortest way home. Like, there's no shortcuts.
Yeah.
There's no, well, I can just get away with this and apologize and be right back where I was. Like, it is a daily devotion to him. Yeah, we'll make mistakes. We're all sinners. But if you choose him every single morning when you wake up, and throughout your day, you're just reminded over and over and over again, like in Iron Tribe, when we come in and there's worship music, that's just a reminder for me. That's a safe place, but that is a reminder. Well, if you go to work, whatever you do, like whatever it is, but just have reminders throughout your day, or just think about your devotion throughout the day as much as you can, just to guard your heart. Because, the devil wouldn't mess with you if he didn't think you were a believer. If he thought you weren't a believer, why would he touch you? He's got you. Like, there's nothing, you're not a problem for him. So
Not a threat.
right. Why? There's no reason to neutralize you.
Create a healthy rhythm of life.
Right. Make it easy.
Yeah.
Make it more money, whatever, more fame. Make it whatever it is they want, as long as they're not focused on him.
I think you're saying this really well, but just to like boil it down to the basics, I think what we're all saying to anyone listening is the life that God calls us to in revealing himself to us through his word, which is so amazing. It's a miracle that there's an infinite God who created the universe, and then he's like, I'm going to use human people who are flawed and stupid and rebellious, and I'm going to write a book, and we're going to keep it, and then I'm going to just keep revealing myself throughout the generations, and then we're going to be able to read it and have the full revelation of the gospel. And now, Psalm 16 says that in your presence there's fullness of joy, at your right hand are pleasures forevermore. The safest and the best place to be in life and the clearest path to walk is under the lordship of Jesus. It's not a drag. It calls for denial of self, but if you don't do it, you're going to just rot and combust anyways. It's the word. And the danger is that enough success. I experienced a lot of the same wrestles playing professional golf, and the danger with success is that you can numb yourself with it enough to where if you are a person who just continues to get it and you get it and you get it and you get it, you can just kind of shut the other things out and be very selfish and autonomous and ignore the Lord, because ultimately death is our greatest enemy. But there's people in the world that get enough of it all the way to the precipice of that to where they're like, oh wait, it still runs out at some point. There's a termination point, and we don't know when that's coming.
Right.
And so I think the call is just trust the Lord, repent of your sins and believe, and live unto the fullness of life, not in some like restricted life,
Yeah. And I think also the call, once you are changed, once you're transformed, we're called to the fruit that we bear. It is not for us. It is for the people around us. An apple tree does not eat apples. Like, you don't indulge yourself in your fruit. You give it to others. And that's the next step. So people say, well, I'm a believer. What's next? Well, you give it to the next, and then the next, and the next. But that comes not from just the words you say, but people should be able to see that.
Yeah.
Like, I should be able to hang out with you for a day and not say a word and be able to know who he is. Like, that is, and that can be hard times. You have bad days. I understand that. Yeah. But that's the call, right? That's to every day who you come in contact with, you change in a good way. Like, wow, he is joyful. He is merciful. Like, he gets it. Like, he's different. He's not your average person you walk around the street, and like, why is he different? And then that creates interest, and then you're bearing the fruit.
There's a great picture of that Psalm 1. Blessed is the man who does not walk in the count. This is the wrong version here. I pulled it up. It's just I've never read this version before. I got to switch it. I'm sorry.
On a side note, while you're getting that, Blayne was talking big talk in one of our intro episodes about how his generation had it better because he pulled up with a yellow legal pad and he wasn't going to get tech in here. And I had my iPad, and he was like, "Oh, Ben's got his iPad.
Oh,
what do we have over there?
Well, Ben sent the notes on my iPad.
What do we have over there?
This is prehistoric paper. That's
I never use my iPad to read.
What happens to the yellow legal pad,
I wasn't going to
Blayne?
grab your Bible.
absolutes are never true.
Hear the word of the Lord.
That's an absolute.
Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of scoffers. So blessing is found not by where the wicked are, or the sinners, or the scoffers, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. And then what you just said, he is like a tree planted by streams of water that yields its fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither. In all that he does, he prospers. And why would the Lord prosper us other than to be like a tree that then gives the fruit out that is born?
Right.
And that's where blessing is found.
It is.
Let me get back to my notes. Sorry, Ben.
It's hard to do that when you have an iPad.
I mean,
Derailed us.
I had to.
That's fine. My generation, we're like 7 years apart.
You were the one that said that.
Yeah,
Straight
I do prefer a legal pad, but tonight he gave a lot of notes and I had to put it on here.
Are you 36?
35.
35.
I'll be 36 in a couple months. Yeah,
Getting old.
I am. Entrusted is brought to you in part by Primo Golf Apparel. Based out of Utah and built on a simple belief: golfers are athletes. When I first partnered with Primo, I was proud to be their first ever professional ambassador because what they were doing wasn't just about fashion, it was about function. They were among the first to introduce golf joggers to the game, and they changed how golfers thought about performance wear. Today, Primo's lineup goes way beyond joggers, from polos to outerwear to shorts to leisure wear that actually moves with you. Every piece is designed for golfers who train, grind, and compete, whether that's in the gym, on the range, or in life. So, if you want to look sharp, move freely, and represent what it really means to be an athlete on and off the course, check out Primo Golf Apparel. You can visit primogolfapparel.com and use code Entrusted for 15% off your next order. Primo Golf Apparel. Golfers are athletes.
All right, I want to take us back on track. This is just kind of a little funny thing. Did you ever have a welcome to the NFL moment? Was there one specific ever?
Yeah, let's learn about football for a minute.
Okay,
I'm just a golfer.
That's fine.
And I need to know some insider info.
Or even welcome to Auburn. Like, I'd love to know
SEC.
about,
I mean,
like,
Sure, I'll do both. Auburn. Wow, that's been a long time. I'll do NFL first because I remember that one. So it was the first. We had a practice in the stadium in preseason, and if you don't know anything about the NFL, OTAs and stuff, there's no pads, so it's pretty much 7-on-7 all day. You get to preseason, you pad. It's camp, it's classic camp. We did what's called inside zone runs. So the defense knows what you're doing, and it's your job to block. Well, it wasn't Max Crosby, but it was the other starting DN, Malcolm Kuntz, and he took me probably 7.5 yards that way, backwards, planted me. This was right before the last preseason game, so it's crunch time as far as roster is concerned. And after that, you're humiliated. Like, I'm a professional athlete, I should not be put on my butt. But everyone has that. I have a great story. So Michael Mayer, he was drafted the same class as me to the Raiders. Great guy. He and Max had the same drill. And Max, he was on the right. He took Michael all the way to the left tackle in inside zone run drills. And I was like, well, that could have been me, I guess. So, and then college, it was kickoff return, the old one. And I guess they still do it in college. And our starting Mike linebacker, Darrell Williams, I think was his name. And he came probably at 21 miles an hour, and he completely concussed me and knocked me on my butt. So you learn quickly, obviously. I think the adjustment from high school to college, totally different than college and NFL. High school to college, everyone's bigger than in high school. In a college to NFL, SEC guys are pretty big.
I was about to say, do you think
They
it's
don't get much
because you
bigger.
played in the SEC?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And especially that time, 2017 we were unbelievable. So we had everybody. But college to NFL, you play in the SEC, the guys are pretty much the same size, roughly, except for Myles Garrett and those randoms. But the adjustment was just night and day, the speed, the physicality from high school to college. And mentally, that's the breaker from high school to the NFL. That's where people separate themselves. Like, if you can be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there, you can play a long time. And even if you get there and you're exactly where you're supposed to be in the NFL, you still may not make it. So it's such a fine line. Once you get to the highest level, it's such a fine line to make it. And so that's why when we talk about it, that's why you can't put your chips into a game, especially one like this. Like golf, you can play golf a pretty long time, like a lot longer than football. Like football, I've chosen the worst
You're not
career as
picking
far
up?
as durability. I mean, you're not playing. If you're at 30, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Unless you're a top 100
You
player.
look great to be like 85 in football years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty close. Yeah, I mean,
You're holding up great.
retirement is knocking on the door, so it is. But the longer you play, the more you understand that. Like, it's such a short amount of time. You're playing a kid's game. Like, just be who you want to be. Follow the Lord, and don't let football, even though the days it's a grind and your body hurts and all the things. Like, it does not matter if you don't have the Lord, because it will go away quickly, and you have so much life left, and so many people to minister to in ways that you may not even understand at the moment. Like, I don't know, I may have changed someone's life in Vegas that I don't even know, that they just saw how I acted or how I handled a situation, that they're like, that's not normal around here. Like, that's not what I would normally see here.
Is there a huge culture shift from SEC locker room to an NFL locker room?
Really independent in the NFL.
Really?
Like, you're your own. Yeah, because
It's professional. It's a
it's a job.
Yeah.
Like, you could have a great relationship, but that doesn't mean you're staying the next day. Like, so that is a challenge, because some of my best buddies, they're starters. Well, I wasn't making the same, like, I wasn't the same lifestyle, but so that it's a hard thing to juggle. Like, I got cut 3 or 4 times my rookie year, and those guys, I would still hang out with them, but that's a weird time. Like, yeah, you're there, I'm not, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we still are friends to this day, obviously, but it is, college, you want to be together, be a team. NFL, they preach that, sure. But at the end of the day, everyone goes home to their families, and it's about them providing for their family, which I understand. That's just like any job. But just, you have no idea if you'll be there the next day, especially in where I was.
You also picked a heck of a tight end room to break into.
I mean, the fact that I played last year was incredible. I mean, Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, we had Justin Shorter, we had Harrison Bryant, he'd been in the league for like 6 years. I grew up with him, actually, and it was awesome. But yeah, like, both years I was there, first round draft pick tight end. I'm like, okay, well, there goes 1, 2, and maybe 3 tight ends ahead of me without starting a snap. So, but it was, there's injuries and all that, but
how do you create team culture in the NFL? That, like, how do you collectively get everybody to buy into a vision to, like, win the Super Bowl?
a great coach first, but winning is, because we did not win. We had a bad culture. I think in the NFL, if you win, it's great, because guys get paid more. Guys get more publicity for themselves. It is so.
It's so individualistic.
That's all it chases.
Yeah.
Is, okay, if we can win, that's why. Yeah, you want to win, like, regardless.
Yeah.
But losing cultures in the NFL, it's brutal. You play, it's 18 weeks, 17 games straight with 1 bye. College, they have 12 games with 2 byes. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So it's such a battle mentally, because there's no alarm clock for you to get up with the team and go work out together. It's you have to be there at a certain time. If you're not there, you're cut. If you're not doing your job, you're cut. And the coaches are there to coach. Normally the coaches are great. I've had great tight end coaches, thankfully, that have helped. Like, they're not just there to tell me the plays, and then if I don't do them right, to cut me. Like, they've been awesome. So I've been blessed in that way, but it's just so individual, and it's not normal. Like, obviously not a normal job. But that's why people don't play long, because the grind, and especially if you're not a draft pick and you're not guaranteed anything. Like, the first year, we never bought a house, but the first year I stayed in a hotel for like 5 months, because
You don't know if
you don't know.
Yeah.
And it's cheaper, and you're 2,000 miles away. Well, then you got to ship a car or rent a car. Well, it's about the same price. So it's just the battles that no one sees.
Yeah.
And people ask all the time, would you want your son to play in the NFL? And I was like, he can if he loves it. But if he doesn't love it, no way. Because it takes all of you to even get there.
Either love it or sign like an 8-year,
Be really good.
mega deal.
Yeah.
Do you think the college is turning into NFL in the way that we and how they're getting paid, or what's your opinion on NIL now.
I'm glad people get paid. I think
Okay.
they make so much money for the school. I think they should get paid.
Okay.
But there's no regulation on it. So I think that can be really dangerous with 18 to 22-year-olds. I was always taught and growing up, like, I'm not for sale in that way. Like, if someone came to my parents and said, how much for your son, they would just push him away. Like, that was not, I was going to Auburn. I was going to stay at Auburn because that was my commitment. But now it's where can I go for the most money? Like, you used to, when I was going to pick schools, you picked the school, not the coach. Now it's, you don't even care about the school or the coach. Yeah. It's straight to the money. And some kids, I'm sure that's not true.
Yeah.
But the big ones for sure.
So does that mess the culture up then?
Yes. The only, if you notice, the people that are successful now probably had a good culture before NIL. Georgia. I would argue Kiffin is getting better with culture. Bama. Ohio State. Their cultures were good before the NIL.
Yeah.
And but it's becoming harder and harder for Kirby and those guys to keep it because these kids don't want to work as hard. Yeah. They don't care about the school.
Either.
Which is why Nick Saban retired.
It is. And it's great, but at some point it has to turn back. It has to turn back to, there has to be some power back into the coaches to be able to coach.
Yeah.
And you can say, well, Auburn doesn't have a culture. Well, maybe not, but you also, if you don't give the money to the right guys, you're not going to win either. Yeah. And so I don't like where it's going just because I don't feel like guys are playing for the school. And the guys that are, it's because their school is good. Yeah. Typically.
Makes sense.
Taking it back to your story, as you kind of look back on the time in the NFL, what do you feel like the Lord was teaching you through that season or molding in you in that way?
He was separating my idolatry of sport and football from myself. I think for a long time that was an idol. I love sports, like watch it all day, every day, which if you have the right posture of heart about it, it's not sinful. Watch a football game, great. But it cannot consume you to where you lose sight of your relationship with Christ. And I think in college we talked about it, like that was my idol, was everything except. And I think the NFL and my wife, it taught me to pull that away and make it two totally separate things. I just treated it like my job. And I went in, I said, I'm going to do it. I enjoy it, yes, but it is not what I am. It is not what I stand for. It's not, hey, I'm John Samuel, I'm the football player. I'm a believer, I play football, and I'm going to play as long as I can because I enjoy it, but not because it's the only thing I know, it's the only thing I want, because it's so temporary. And honestly, the higher you get, the less enjoyable the sport can become because it becomes a business to an extent. Yeah, it's awesome. Playing in the SEC is awesome. The crowds are amazing. The spirit of the school is awesome, but high school is probably the most pure form of football because you're just playing with your buddies. Yeah. There's no money. There's nothing. There might be now, but there wasn't. And but now it's the NFL. It's all money, all about how many clicks I can get, where I can go. And I really didn't care. I wanted to perform well and do my job right. Like we were called to work with our hands and we're not called to be lazy. But like I get done with practice, and if it was a bad practice, like I would just be like, you know what? It's not that big of a deal.
Going home to my wife.
Right. Like it's not that big of a deal. If I get cut tomorrow, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah. But that was hard. My rookie year, that was much harder because it was my first time. I'm here. I can't let this up. Well, eventually you will. But that taught me just to let it go. Like just remove that idol. I mean, I think that's the second of the 10 Commandments, right? The first is put no God before me. The second is there to be no idols. So like it was just, that was a freeing moment to be able to pull that away from what I am. And looking back, it makes me so happy that I did those things. Yes. Absolutely. Like awesome. Worked so hard. But I would say to a fault, like dedicated too much of myself to that. And part of that's just I have an addictive personality, so I'm going to go all in on what I'm doing. But that is still, why can't I be addicted to that, right? Like, why can't the word be what I'm addicted to and not what I'm doing a 9 to 5?
We've talked about this a couple times lately, but when something's an idol, when you get it, it leaves you unsatisfied. Right. And when you don't get it, it crushes you.
Right.
And then when the Lord does his painful and sweet work in us, and we rejoice when we encounter trials of various kinds, like we see in James 1, and the testing of our faith produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. When it's in its rightful place, then there's no the sinful tendency to pursue things or to enjoy success or accolades or highs and lows. They just become moments of like rejoicing and worship. Right. And so the things just become conduits to joy along the journey, and they're not termination points. Right. Because when something becomes a termination point, you're left on one of two ends, and it's miserable.
Yes.
And even believers are prone to that. But that's the Lord's faithful work in us as we walk this journey, as he's not going to let those things overtake us, but there'll be moments where he rightfully disciplines us and lets us experience that.
Yeah. And I think too, like, if he wants you to choose him, like, that's why we have free will. That's the whole point, is you can't earn it by merit, because he wants you to choose him. So that's why he gave us the ability to do that. But also, if you're on the wrong track and you idolize these other things, normally I've seen with some of my buddies, he takes those things away so that you can only see him. And that can be a lot too. Like, if I've had a buddy, like, it was a girlfriend that he thought he was going to marry and a life that he thought he was going to have, and the Lord just pulled it away, and he was lost, and I was like, well, there's only one place. And he's pulling everything from you for that reason. Like, look at him, talk to him, build the relationship, which you already had, but it's hard to see that under a microscope. You have to look at it from way up above. Yeah. And that's hard to do sometimes.
And then sometimes that happens, and we know that the only place we can run to is him, and we run to him, and we find ourselves right back there.
Yes,
we're running to the wrong place.
Yes.
And I think it's just really important to say that, like, what we're saying isn't that there's not great joy and fulfillment and satisfaction in, like, achieving a great goal or shooting for a big vision, or, the Lord has a different plan for all of us. And it's
what he's entrusted us with. That's our whole message. I mean, he's given him this platform, that all of this we're talking about.
Yeah. And I mean, for some people, he calls you to very little and world missions. And then to some people, he calls to leadership positions at massive corporations and a lot of material wealth and opportunity.
It's all for his glory.
Yeah. And so
no matter what it is.
The key is, I just read this verse the other day. I can't remember. Proverbs: trust in the Lord and do good, dwell in the land and befriend faithfulness. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to him, and he will act. And it's just like this simple life way to live. It's just commit your work to the Lord, trust in him, do good, live in the land, and let him do his work, and just seek him.
I think the most important thing in that passage for me is the delighting in him, and he'll give you the desires of your heart. It's because he alters the desires of our heart. When we delight in him, it completely changes what we are going to find our joy in.
That's right.
So you can take that out of context and say, "Oh, delight in the Lord, and you'll get $1 million," or whatever it is. But it may be, but whatever it is, your desires have been completely altered.
Yeah,
you have to choose that too. Right, like, you have to be. We were called to be obedient to that, and that can be hard too. Well, I want you to move across the world. Well, are you?
Yeah,
like that becomes like Pastor Matt Dean. He was in Hong Kong. Like, would you?
That's a great question.
I feel like the word martyr is being tossed out right now. Like, would you be a martyr?
Yeah.
I mean, if someone came to you today and said, "Do you believe in Jesus Christ?" and you had a gun to your head, what would you? I don't know. It's pretty humbling.
Extremely. All right, so take us now we've heard this cool story, everything that the Lord's allowed you to do over your lifetime. And where are we today? We got baby on the way.
Yeah.
So a bit of uncertainty. Walk us through that and walk us through the Lord being faithful in that as well.
Yeah. So, I guess been unemployed technically since January. As far as don't have a job.
But your boy is killing in the gym.
Well,
That's
you
where
have
we're
nothing
at.
else to do. You might as well work out.
He ain't
Brock.
He ain't playing games.
I need to.
But
Hey, Brock showed up Saturday.
he did.
I don't know where you were.
Where was I? I did say I
you had
something.
an unplanned breakfast.
Oh, I did. It was delicious.
You chose your wife over us, and that is commendable.
That's biblical, I'm pretty sure.
It is.
But what was the question? Oh, back to right now. Well, yes. So I'll go backstory on that. So it's become part of my wife's testimony and mine as well. But we started trying in January, and we had a miscarriage in February, late February. The baby was about 5 weeks roughly. We just found out like 3 days before she miscarried. But she was okay, like nothing wrong. We get pregnant, the due date is the same day as the miscarriage.
Wow.
Yeah. Little God wink there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jeez.
And so that is a really hard time, but talk about bringing your marriage closer together in that. And more people go through that than you think. Like that is, sadly, that is a common thing.
But a lot of people don't talk about it.
Right.
Because
they don't feel open to say that. But sometimes it's because it's so hard. They just don't want to share. And I understand that but my wife was open to do that. She is now helps at a pregnancy center for women. And that's her passion.
As a result of that situation?
She did it last year.
Okay.
A little bit. A friend got her into it in Vegas, and then she got here. She does it here now. Okay. So
where here?
Women's Hope.
Oh, awesome.
Great.
Yes, she loves it. She goes there a couple of days a week and helps with the women that come in there. So really awesome thing. Some amazing stories and
absolutely.
Yeah, that takes a special individual to do that. So all those women over there are amazing. But yeah, so boy coming March 1st, and we're so excited. I think today we're at 21 weeks, so we're halfway there. But what a blessing that's been. And to know you're going to be a father, you lean on this a lot too. Like
Absolutely.
the unknown, obviously, but to lead your family in that way. And I just simplified it. I said, well, I'm not going to raise my kids. I'm going to let this raise my children and
You're
lead my wife.
their lives.
Right. Like it makes it way more simple to do it that way than, yeah, you're going to have rules and whatever. But this is the way that I want my children to be raised. But now we're in that mood of kind of moving on from football and that. And so I've had a lot of time to do this. Well, eventually I'm not going to. Like I'm not have as much time as I do now. And so mentally I've been preparing myself whenever that time comes, this does not leave, because that's been my tendency. When I get busy, is this leaves, I'll do it when I get home. When I get home, I don't want to do it. So that's kind of been on my heart on making sure that discipline stays, because that is what my family needs. And that's our calling, right? To be spiritual leaders of our own household. And that is a huge burden, but also a blessing, right? Like the Lord puts that upon us. And we are called to do that. But I wouldn't say, some athletes, they don't know what they're going to do. They're lost. I wouldn't say I feel that way, but I think that's because of letting go of the idolatry, letting go of football, letting go of all of that. And yes, having a wife and children can definitely take you away from that a lot quicker than if I was single. But I have such freedom in that right now. Like I'm good to move on. We love it here. We're going to be here for a while. And just the community I've gained through Blayne and Iron Tribe and Grace and everything that we love about this place while we came back. We're very, I wouldn't say content is the right word, but we are in a way. Like we're happy where we are. Raising kids here would be amazing. And so that's where we're at.
So it feels like you have a lot of peace right now in this uncertainty.
Yeah. I talk to people
I'd be
about
terrified
it all
if
the
I was
time.
unemployed with a baby on the way, personally.
It is. And that's why, it is. So it's kind of a trying time. Like I have things, we're working through things with that, but it's, I don't know. I'm at peace with that, and know that we had a plan from the start once the season ended, like with finance, with everything, like what the plan was, and give it that time. And when that time comes, just be ready and move on. And so I think we've prepared our hearts more for that, because everyone says the fall off is terrible, and which it may be, that adrenaline rush, you might not get it back, which that's okay. But yeah, I'm sure I'll struggle with that in a way. But
Took me 6 months to reach an identity crisis.
did it?
It did.
Some people say
Different for everybody.
Some people say it's 12 months. Like that
Yeah.
first 12 months is rough.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. It might be.
There's
But-
grace for it. And
Right.
You'll be fine. But it's different for everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think the baby is a blessing too. Like that'll be, it's not a distraction. That's a terrible way to describe it. But what a blessing to have it March 1st, and to have all of that to look forward to. Like honestly, right now, I don't clock in on football really. I watch college. Don't really watch the NFL much. College is way more fun. And so I'm just kind of checked out of that. And if you asked me that 2 years ago, no way. No way. I would not have been checked out. I would have been dialed in on everything. Like, what's he doing? How's he doing? How's this team doing? But then again, that comes from the transformation from high school to college that transformed me from college to the NFL. And if I learned nothing more from that journey, it's that. Amen. It's that the idolatry is gone. The needing these worldly things is gone. Like NFL is probably one of the most worldly things you could be a part of. It's all about your performance. It's about you. Like you have guys on these huge billboards. That's probably not a good idea for anybody. Like no one can really handle that the right way. That would be a huge challenge. Like I was never that guy, but I could only imagine that to be a challenge. Like, look at me, I'm on a billboard. So that
Pride is deadly.
It is. Pride is, I would say, the great sin of Christians is because, again, you think you have it all or you can do it all. And physically, yeah, maybe it'll do some things, but someone gave me that. Like, you couldn't hit a golf ball if Christ didn't allow you to have the ability to hit a golf ball. I couldn't run a 4.53.
That's right.
Without, like, so
Without the right clock.
right, without grandma in the stands. So, but no, it's that's such a. It really, in the Beatitudes it talks about blessed are those who mourn for sin. Like every day, I think I mourn more and more, and I know that that's because of my heart. We're called to have a pure heart as well, and I feel like that has been really heavy for me. Like other people too. It doesn't have to be me, but I see sin in the world, and it just hurts. And 2 years ago or 3 years ago, it didn't hurt. Like you just saw it, and you're like, that's just part of it. But now it's like it hurts because you know how broken they are, and how much you want to help in any way. And I probably say no too much to trying to help people in a way, like small little things that someone may ask me to do. Oh, I can't, I'm busy. And I would say that's probably one of my big struggles is I'm kind of an introvert in that way. But I think that is part of my growing is reaching out to that, like growing in that, because yes, he gave me a platform, but that's my calling to use that. And even if I don't love public speaking or doing certain things, that's where he put me, and he will give me the courage to do that. But you have to lean on him for that. You can't trust yourself to be able to do that.
I think it's really cool how the Lord, the parable of the talents, that's kind of the clearest thing I can think of in scripture at the moment, but he's just kind and intentional with the things that he bestows on us as individuals. like I can just speak for me. I can see a thread in my career where the way I wanted it to go, if it would have gone that way, I would have just been the most insular, prideful, arrogant prick imaginable. And the Lord was kind to not give me what I wanted.
Right.
But there are people who he gives great responsibility and great platforms and lots of power and prestige that, like we were talking when we interviewed Carrie a week ago, we were like, it's very evident why the Lord gave him the career he did because he's wired to handle that well.
Right.
Handle it, yep.
Yeah. And so it just, I want people to hear that the Lord uniquely works in each one of us because he cares individually for us, and he's great and transcendent enough to deal with us each individually, all billions of us. And he loves us enough individually to do that. And he will give you what you need and in the time that you need it. And you just have to submit to him. And so it's not like this, your story is that the Lord has brought you to this point and he's humbled you through it. And my story is very much that way. But there's other people who've like achieved, just it keeps going and going and going and going, and they can be faithful in that too.
Right.
So
yeah, Tim Tebow is probably the best
Yeah,
example.
that's right.
Like I could not do that.
yeah,
No way.
it's a great example.
But even my brother and I, like if it was flipped and he was what I was doing, he couldn't do that either.
yeah,
Like he says all the time, he's like, I don't know how you could do that and remain humble and in the word. Like, I don't know how you did that. Well, that's why I had it compared to him, but he also has things that I don't because maybe I couldn't, so it's, he gives us those abilities that are so unique to each individual that I think sometimes we take for granted and we think that's us, but he gave us those abilities. He knew exactly how much we could handle.
Yep. And just to generalize it for everyone, if you are a lawn maintenance person, or you are a construction worker, or you do power lines, or you're a banker, you do it unto the glory of the Lord, and you stay in your Bible, and you love your family well, and you go to church, and you kind of live a simple, ordinary life well, and that's beautifully glorifying to God. Yes. You don't have to have some mega platform to do that. That's not what the Lord's called us to.
No.
So.
Yeah.
I think it would be a disservice if we didn't talk about this a little bit as you're heading into fatherhood. You said that your dad was one of your greatest, if not your greatest influence outside of the Lord. You want to talk about that a little bit, and then what you're taking from him into your own parenthood?
Yes. So my parents both really very blue collar. My dad is a dog trainer and a plantation manager. So early mornings, late nights. Mom is a nurse. So I grew up in a household, you got up early, so it was that, but my dad, he's not, we always say he runs out of words. If we're at dinner and he runs out of words, he's going to be sitting in the car waiting for you. It's kind of a wild thing, but
I love that.
Yeah, it's true. It still happens.
All right, I'll be in the car. I'm done.
Yeah, like he won't say it. Where's Dad? No, he's in the car. Yeah, he's waiting on us. The car's getting warm.
Tank's empty.
But he didn't use a lot of words in that way. It was all action. And I think I take that, and I believe that's true with children. Obviously, I don't have them. I cannot speak from experience. But just myself, I know I respond way more to how someone's acting than what they say to me. And I'm sure that's true with parenting in a way. Like how you act on a daily basis, how you interact with your wife, their mother, how you interact with people, how you interact with them, how you handle every situation. I feel like my dad was just even killed the whole way. I'm sure he had moments, but I learned a lot through him for that. Like I always say he's a man's man. Like he worked really hard. He didn't whine. He didn't do anything. He led us the right way. And he lost it a while too. He went to college, to Harding, a D2 school, and he dropped out. He failed. He dropped out of school his sophomore year, and he had a full ride, everything to a D2 school. He grew up pretty poor, so that was a big deal. And he got right into what he does now, but he's never been one. Money has never been a thing. He hasn't had it, but it's never been, an identity. He's never chased it. My mom's the same way. But and I probably don't say this enough, my dad, but I look to him. I don't ask a lot of him. I just look and watch and see how he acts every day. My wife gets annoyed sometimes because he's pretty sarcastic, and I've inherited that trait, and she doesn't much like it. But that's part of growing in marriage.
Sanctification.
Yes. But it has been reflecting back on all the little things that I didn't understand for a long time or didn't really think of. Looking back now, before I become a father, seeing how he handled those situations and why I am who I am is because of watching what he did and how he handled things. And it's really been a joy. I probably should say that more to him, especially now. But it is, when you look back, it is really, really powerful to see how your dad treated you, how he treated your mother. And he always put my mother before us, which was really powerful. And to see that now in my marriage, like I'm choosing my wife over my children as far as priority, like our marriage came before our children. And it's been, that's been really powerful to see him in that
was
way.
something else Carrie shared with us, was just you have to show the kids that mom comes first.
Right.
He now has grandkids, the kids and mom still come first.
Right.
And it's like you're showing it to all of them.
I'm sure that's hard at times.
Absolutely.
I'm sure Blayne could attest
tell
to
us,
that.
Blayne.
Oh yeah, I'm the only one asking.
Yeah.
You old man.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I've seen that modeled well from other men who've gone before me, and I've seen it through observation of them, but then also through them saying that. Even simple things like whether it's a bio I write or a way I introduce myself, I'm really intentional to be like, I'm Morgan's husband first, and then I'm a father to Emmett, Ford, Lawson, and Maverick, because that is my first and greatest priority. And I heard it recently, and I've probably heard it said more eloquently, but what your kids need the most is to see a Christ-honoring marriage.
Amen.
And if they do that, then you're probably going to parent them well also. And so, yeah, it's just, it's kind of the order of loves, and it's the prioritization of, I'm first and foremost saved by grace through faith. And then I'm mirroring that in my marriage relationship in the world. And then I'm representing God as he's my father. And now I'm this figure of fatherhood to these little souls. And so, that prioritization is important.
Well, this has been awesome. One thing we always like to close with is kind of fun. You can think on it a second if you have to, but just for our audience, for those that are listening, is there any book, podcast, sermon, anything specific, if you were just going to send something encouraging to the audience that's been impactful in your life, your walk with the Lord? It could even just be a specific book of the Bible, maybe like what you're reading this morning.
I would say I'm pretty much done with Mere Christianity. Let me start with this. I think if you're not a Christian, if you do not know the Lord, I would tell you to read John all the way through. Mm-hmm. But don't just read it, like dissect it piece by piece by piece. I think that is the true testament to what God was and what Jesus was on this earth and what we are called to be. It's a very heavy book, but just reading it multiple times, I think that is the best book to read for those who are intrigued and want to know more. And then Mere Christianity sums up what it means to be a follower in not necessarily a biblical world in a biblical sense, but the acts in which those people are, like how you would be seen. You would be patient, you'd be kind, you would love. And so that it creates a great depiction of what that is to be. But I would start with John and I would read it. And if you don't understand it, read it again. If you don't understand it, read it again. And start there. And then as you go through, just lean on everything that it says, because that book can really, all the Gospels they're all similar, right? But I just think John is the most clear as far as if you don't know what you're reading, just read John and enjoy it.
Love it. Love it. You guys got anything else?
One thing.
Okay.
What was
Come on
the
now.
greatest Auburn game you ever played in?
Oh, I like it. That's good.
Oh, okay.
Well, just for the fans. Auburn player.
I have two. So the greatest win I ever had, arguably, it's not going to be Iron Bowl. So sorry. I won a couple, should have won another one, but the 2021 LSU game in Baton Rouge,
That was fun.
we had
We were
not
there, weren't we?
we had not beat them.
I was there. I don't remember you being there. I was there.
I was there.
It'd been like 21 years or something. It was something crazy. We hadn't beaten them there since then, and it was Harson's first year.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that was the most special win I ever experienced. Like, just we never played well there. 2019, we almost took down Burrow, and that's the one I remember the most. I did play well in that game, so that might be why. But I just enjoyed that. For some reason, that game struck a nerve, and just I'll never forget that game. And then obviously the 19 Iron Bowl was awesome to ruin their season. Iron Bowls are
Good.
people that argue what's the greatest rivalry. I understand that we're not always great in these games, but it's always a game.
Absolutely.
Michigan, Ohio State, it's a good one, sure.
Especially if it's in Jordan Hare.
Yeah, we're not great in Bryant-Denny.
Yeah.
But Jordan Hare, yeah, we may be 3 and whatever before this one.
It's still going to be a game.
You should probably bet on Auburn. I mean, just saying, that's how I feel when they come here. I thought the same way. Honestly, I thought we were going to beat the Dogs a couple weeks ago. Like, just our place is kind of it's
Well,
spooky.
they put that ref on suspension today, so.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't give us a win. So they should do that to the Oklahoma guys too.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2021
question.
Baton Rouge
Good
was
close.
special.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, War Eagle
If you
to
could,
that.
War Eagle to that.
if you could tell Brock one thing to do to increase his gains in the gym,
You can start with working out with Blayne's a good start. Well, do you want
Be back here Saturday
gains
morning.
or do you want fitness?
I would say I'm like
fitness gains.
overall, I'm not like. I mean,
what do you?
Do you want to be bulky or do you want to be
No,
fit?
I would rather just be fit. Like, what's his name over there? Or like, what you look like? Like that.
Fit.
What's the guy? Yeah, the name.
I
Did you
would
say what you look
Nick.
like?
Yeah, I'm
Nick.
just like. When I'm
Free-
40, I would like to.
Free
look
shout
Yeah,
out Iron
yeah.
Tribe. Go to Iron Tribe and
Iron Tribe Auburn. Come
yeah,
join me and
come
John.
8:15.
8:15.
You may not be able to squeeze that one, but they have early classes.
Yeah.
Come every day. You can't come twice a week. You gotta come every day.
Every day.
And you could come tomorrow. It's really fun. Tomorrow will be.
Tomorrow's a partner workout.
Yeah, you could join me and Blayne.
Come on.
He'll be at work
What
at
time would you?
8:15.
Yeah, I gotta be at work.
8:15.
Yeah, they have earlier classes for working professionals.
Yeah.
Let's just start by returning.
Us workout gurus, they don't really have a.
Let's just start by
issue.
returning Saturday if Blaine's here this weekend. We'll start
Yeah.
there.
You gotta stack
Back-to-back
days.
weeks.
You gotta stack them. Yeah.
Should we tell what happened last
I won't
week?
be here, but
Brock puked everywhere in my front yard. It was great. It was a good
outside
start.
the front yard.
Outside the front yard.
Enough to.
But it
outside.
showed you were and you came and you finished.
Yeah.
You finished
It
after.
was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I finished.
He
around.
actually threw up because he thought there was a lot more coming. He told me later he didn't realize it was the end, or he would have just been.
So you made yourself throw up?
No, I don't know. I think it was when we were doing the. What was the second thing?
That's a
cleanse.
clean.
Yeah, the clean. I think just got me after
Hang
the run,
cleanse.
and then it was just like, if I don't do it, I'm not
The
going to
whole
finish the
central
next.
nervous system was just
Fried.
And I didn't even
fried.
eat food that morning. That was. I mean,
Yeah, that's the honestly.
can
there you go. Well,
that can be part of it.
Eat a
all right.
banana
Well,
or
next
something.
time we'll get Brock some food.
yeah. There we go.
Yes.
Thanks for coming on. We
I
appreciate
love it. Thank
Yeah.
y'all for having me.
Thanks, John. That's great.
Hey guys, this is Blayne, one of the hosts here at Entrusted. We are really grateful you chose to spend some time with us today. We know you have lots of options, and we hope that the thoughts and the messages from this talk we had with our guests really propelled you to explore the design that you were created for. The best ways to support us, check out our socials, like, subscribe, leave a review, tell your friends, family, coworkers, neighbors. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we hope you'll tune back in next time.